The Big M. General Manager Jason Dowdy was loathed among the staff of the Big M, a long-running grocery store in the village of Eagle Bay, New York. Complaints against Dowdy for harassment and verbal abuse were frequent, and it wasn't uncommon for employees to leave the store in tears. With the store's owner out of sight, living comfortably down in Florida, Dowdy's reign of terror went unchecked and he ran the place as he saw fit. Those who kept their jobs kept their mouths shut. As for the Big M, it had served the grocery needs of Eagle Bay for more than 30 years. It was dated, but possessed a certain rustic charm. The market sold the staples: bread, milk, beer, deli, and barbecue meats. It did good business during the summer and snowmobile seasons of the central Adirondacks, but there were also the famine months, with only a trickle of locals window shopping the fully stocked shelves. The early evening of New Year's Eve had started like any other at the Big M, if a bit busier due to the holiday. Night managers Stephen Drew and cashier Tim Hale both arrived at 4 p.m., and over the next couple hours saw to locals in need of last-minute snacks and booze. From 8 p.m. on, however, the store was practically empty. Stephen and Tim were bitter about having to work that evening, but did what they could to pass the time, chatting with the few remaining employees about trail conditions in the Pigeon Lake wilderness. Their conversation was interrupted by Dowdy, who had been in his office for some time. "Hale, how about you make yourself useful and clean out the bottle return area?" said Dowdy. "Get a few hours of real work in before the year comes to a close." The small booth at the front of the store stunk of stale beer and soda pop, and cleaning it was among the store's more stomach-turning tasks. "Come on, man. Now? It's New Year's Eve. I cleaned it yesterday morning." "I don't care, if you got time to lean." Stifling a scowl, Tim left the register area and headed for the bottle return. Dowdy moved on to Sarah, a newer cashier. "What are you doing tonight?" "Me and my boyfriend are going to a party on Big Moose Lake," replied Sarah. She had only worked at the store for a few months, but she was already an expert at deflecting her boss's harassment. "Is that right? I bet you get wild with a few drinks in you." Sarah forced an uncomfortable smile. "I'm sure your wife will be glad to see you after work." "She'll be asleep. How about I swing over to that party of yours and take you for a ride over the ice on my new snowmobile?" "I don't think my boyfriend would like that." "Oh, come on, live a little." Jason grabbed her forearm and she recoiled, causing the store manager to chuckle. "Leave her alone, dude," said Stephen. "Mind your own business, Drew." "Really, Jason, I'm not interested," said Sarah quietly. "Huh?" said Jason, looking back and forth at his two subordinates. "Take a hint," added Stephen, having seen Dowdy harass Sarah on a near daily basis. "I want you in my office now," said Dowdy to Stephen. Stephen reluctantly followed him to the back of the store. "We have to talk. I'm not happy with your management style." Dowdy sat behind his desk and shuffled some papers, never making eye contact with Stephen. "I heard you let Harold off the other day on an hour's notice. His grandmother had just died." "You're too soft. I have a store to run." Dowdy briefly looked at Stephen. They were both in their mid-30s, college educated, stood about the same height, and had similar familial attachments. The main difference between the two in the hierarchy of the store was the fact that Dowdy had gone on to get his MBA at Oswego State. "And I see you tossed out that smoked ham I told you was fine." "It smelled rancid. I can't serve that to customers." "It's not your place." "Listen, I'm going to have to ask you for your resignation." "What?" "It's been a long time coming, Drew. I'm a good manager. The shelves are full each morning. The place is spotless at the end of my shift." Stephen's lip quivered as he thought of his daughter. "Stephen, this morning I found 4 cans of peas, labels inward. That is not up to my standards. I've already spoken to Mr. Mendel about this weeks ago. He's fine with your resignation." Dowdy removed a form resignation letter from his desk for Stephen to sign. Stephen signed the paper, his hand shaking as he considered the lack of employment opportunities in the central Adirondacks in midwinter. So I shouldn't show up tomorrow? No, you still can show up, stock and clean while I look for somebody who could do the job. Stephen left the office dejected. His paycheck from the Big M wasn't much, but it made do in Eagle Bay, kept his kid fed. He had always been able to tolerate Doughty for the sake of his daughter. It hadn't been the first time he'd stood up for a fellow coworker or pushed Doughty's buttons, but he had never expected such an abrupt dismissal. With his rent payment looming, he spent the next few hours pacing up and down aisles, his anger rising as the seconds ticked toward midnight. Soon the remaining employees clocked out and hurried to their respective celebrations, leaving only Stephen, Tim, and Doughty to close. Tim was still in the bottle return, finishing his cleanup job when he heard a loud metallic screech come from the back of the store. He sighed, got up, and left for the back room, figuring that the old box crusher had broken down again. When he pushed open the stockroom's swinging doors, he spotted Stephen standing on two pallets, leaning over the dumpster-sized cardboard compactor. He could see that the machine had gotten stuck midway. The motor was still whirring. "What happened?" said Tim, walking up to the machine. Stephen turned to Tim, his face pale and expressionless. I was pulling pallets, and I heard the machine break down, and I heard him scream." "Huh? Where's Doughty?" "He's in the machine." "What do you mean?" "I mean, look in the machine." Tim stepped up onto the makeshift platform and looked down into the compactor. He caught a glimpse of a crushed arm and a few trickles of blood seeping down onto the partially crushed cardboard. "What the fuck? Is he dead?" "I don't know." Stephen pushed the up button on the machine. It whirred loudly but didn't budge. "How'd he get in there?" asked Tim. "I don't know. He must have been trying to clear a jam and it came down on him. You know this machine's been having issues, and they're too cheap to get it replaced." Tim attempted to open the front panel of the machine to no avail. "You know you can't open the front when the machine's on," said Stephen. "Do you have your phone on you? We need to call an ambulance." "No, it's in the office." "Okay, I'll go call," said Stephen, but Tim grabbed him by the arm. "Wait a second," said Tim. "Does this machine still go down?" "Huh? It will go down all the way, but it won't go back up," replied Stephen, studying his friend's odd countenance. "I'm going to grab my phone and call an ambulance." "Are you sure he's dead?" They simultaneously looked down into the compactor. A breathless half-minute passed before they saw a finger on the mangled hand move as if answering Tim's query. "Okay, I'll go call the ambulance," stated Stephen. Tim again caught Stephen by the arm as he made to leave. "Hold up, dude. It's probably better if this guy doesn't make it through this, right?" "What the hell are you talking about?" "It's a bad look for you either way. You were back here alone with him. He ends up in the box crusher after he forces you to resign." Stephen paused, realizing that the circumstances did appear suspicious. "I didn't push him in, man. Just think about all of the people he's fucked over since Reggie retired," said Tim, getting himself worked up over the past. "Remember Dave Filipio, the butcher? He fired him off of one silly tourist complaint, and now he's the drunk of Old Forge. The guy had 4 daughters. Think about all the young girls he's harassed over the years. You run this place, and he doesn't do shit. He's trying to send you back to minimum wage, man. How are you going to support your family? Sure, the guy's a piece of shit, but this isn't right." "Seems simple enough, Steve. If he lives, it isn't good for you. If he dies, it'll be good for everybody." Stephen eyed the down button, knowing that the machine would ensure Doughty's demise if he wasn't already deceased. "Hell, they'll probably make you the new store manager," added Tim. There was a brief moment of silence between the two before Stephen spoke. "Tim, go up front and get your phone." Tim nodded and shrugged, then left the back room. As the double doors swung behind him, he was startled to hear the distinct sound of the compacting machine whirring loudly and completing its task.